The Veldar Dominion had seen countless civilizations kneel before them. Their fleets moved like shadows across the stars, leaving nothing but submission or ruin in their wake. When they reached Earth, they expected the same outcome. Humanity fought, as all species did, but the result was inevitable. The skies burned as their warships unleashed devastation. Major cities fell within days. Military forces, outmatched in both firepower and technology, crumbled. The invasion was not a battle, it was extermination. Governments collapsed, their leaders either executed or forced into hiding. Earth, once defiant, lay in silence beneath the boots of the conquerors. From orbit, Supreme Warlord Zalvota watched with satisfaction. The resistance had dwindled to isolated pockets of survivors, scattered and powerless. The cycle had repeated itself. Another species, another conquest. He transmitted the final broadcast: Earth belongs to the Dominion. The war is over. On the ground, amidst the wreckage of fallen skyscrapers, a lone human stood. His uniform was torn, his body battered, yet his voice remained steady as he activated a transmitter. The message echoed across all Veldar channels, from planetary forces to the high command in orbit. You forgot the rule. Confusion rippled through the ranks. The warlord narrowed his gaze at the transmission. A glitch. A meaningless act of defiance. It didn't matter. The outcome was unchanged. The human race was broken. The Dominion had won. Or so they believed. The Veldar dismissed the message as the last gasp of a defeated species. Their forces moved freely, setting up command centers, securing supply routes, and preparing Earth for integration into the Dominion. Patrols roamed the ruined streets, scanning for any lingering resistance. Their warships, believing orbital supremacy was unchallenged, drifted in low formations, their shields lowered to conserve energy. Then the first ship fell. Without warning, an unseen weapon struck from the surface, piercing its core. The massive vessel, once an unshakable symbol of power, erupted in flames and plummeted. Panic rippled through the fleet. Before they could react, more explosions followed. Defense cannons, buried beneath rubble, came to life. Advanced targeting systems locked onto every exposed weak point. One by one, Veldar warships collapsed, turning the sky into a graveyard of burning wreckage. On the ground, the patrols fared no better. What they thought were empty ruins became death traps. Roads they had walked unharmed now detonated beneath them. Silent drones, hidden in the wreckage, emerged in swarms, cutting down entire units before vanishing back into the shadows. Their own weapons were turned against them, hijacked defense grids, repurposed technology, and stolen energy cells repowered Earth's last line of offense. This had never been a surrender. The destruction of Earth's major cities had not been the end of the war, but the beginning of the real battle. Humanity had studied the Dominion, predicted their arrogance, and planned accordingly. The rule was simple: wars are not won by those who declare victory first. The Veldar, for the first time, realized they had made a mistake. But by then, it was too late. Chaos consumed the Veldar ranks. The once invincible conquerors, so used to effortless victories, now found themselves trapped. Their fleet, crippled and burning, could no longer provide air support. Their commanders, cut off from reinforcements, issued frantic orders that went unheard. Their soldiers, scattered and disoriented, faced an enemy they could no longer see. Humanity did not fight like the Veldar. There were no direct confrontations, no organized formations to target. Instead, the ruins of Earth became a shifting battlefield, where every shadow hid a threat, every silence masked a coming strike. The invaders were hunted in the streets they once marched through. Their armored convoys were ambushed, their supply routes severed, their command centers breached before they could even react. It was not just human soldiers that fought. Civilian engineers repurposed alien technology into makeshift weapons. AI systems, once designed for peacetime logistics, now coordinated attacks with machine precision. The planet itself turned against the invaders. Harsh weather, treacherous terrain, and unfamiliar gravity weakened them in ways they had never anticipated. Fear took hold. The Veldar were a species that thrived on dominance, but now they found themselves powerless. They fired blindly into the dark, their once disciplined forces unraveling into desperation. The resistance did not let up. They struck, disappeared, and struck again. What the Veldar had thought was their victory had become their slow, inevitable defeat. Then came the silence. No more commands from high command. No more reinforcements from orbit. No more chance to escape. The hunters had become the hunted, and the realization set in this war was no longer about conquest. It was about survival. And for the first time, the Veldar knew what it felt like to be prey. The last Veldar stronghold on Earth stood in ruins. Once a symbol of their dominance, it was now a crumbling fortress surrounded by a silence heavier than any bombardment. Inside, the Supreme Warlord sat motionless, his claws gripping the armrests of his command throne. He had sent his final distress call hours ago. No response came. No fleet was arriving to save them. The Dominion had abandoned them. Outside, humanity gathered for the final push. They no longer needed secrecy. The war was over in all but name. The resistance had taken the enemy's weapons, their technology, their strategy, and used it against them. What remained of the Veldar were scattered remnants, too broken to fight, too proud to surrender. The warlord activated the last transmission beacon, speaking not to his people, but to those who had undone him. "We are willing to negotiate." The answer came through all channels, clear and unwavering. "You forgot the rule." The attack began. No drawn-out siege, no offers of terms, just swift, calculated destruction. The last Veldar forces fell before they could mount a defense. The stronghold collapsed in fire and dust. The warlord, who had once watched the fall of Earth with cold certainty, now witnessed the fall of his own empire with the same inevitability. When the battle ended, humanity stood alone. Earth was theirs once more, but the message sent that day reached far beyond the battlefield. Across the galaxy, those who had once viewed humanity as weak now whispered a new truth. Earth was not a prize to be claimed. It was a graveyard for those who tried.